Hey guys, and welcome to part 6 of What If the Governor Met Negan, the remake. Now, in the last episode, we covered a decent bit about the governor and the Croats' evolving friendship, as well as a bit into Alexandria, which for the most part has went the same, up until the last episode, where Beth gets injured and Tyrese dies. Now, we get to the group coming home, and Daryl having to come to terms with the fact that his lover is almost dead, and that Tyrese suffered also. We will get into what will happen right now. Once Daryl sees what's going on, he instantly starts to get all worried and angry and Daryl. But Glenn goes to explain everything that went on with Nicholas and Aiden. Nicholas being the prime reason of Tyrese, at least, but Beth, that was more Aiden's bad, really. Daryl just takes a moment, very silent, and then in a second, pulls out his gun, ready to kill Nicholas straight on the spot. He doesn't care if Nicholas wasn't fully to blame for Beth. He still resulted in Tyrese's death, who Daryl still cared about, and kind of played the part in Beth getting almost killed. Glenn goes to try and stop Daryl, trying to force the gun out of his hand and pull him away, saying that Beth is still alive, but she's clinging to life. Killing Nicholas won't accomplish anything. He got mad at Nicholas, sure, but there's nothing they could do. But Glenn doesn't really get to finish that sentence, because he gets slammed in the face by an imposing fist from Daryl. And yeah, this would hurt a lot. And afterwards, Glenn just gets straight back up, having already dealt with Merle beating him half to death. Ironic, isn't it? And tries to stop Daryl again. But he doesn't get the gun out of his hand before the gun fires. And it doesn't hit its intended target. And it doesn't hit a wall or a building. It hits Herschel. Square on. Whether it would have been the neck or the head doesn't matter. Fact is, Herschel dies from this, having lived longer than he did originally. And I've had him live to this point before, but this time it was an accidental death. Glenn just looks for a moment and falls to the ground crying. This would be a heartbroken death, and they just got with Tyrese dying and Beth almost dying. But there is no person sadder about this death than Daryl. Oh, sure, Maggie's going to be upset about this, and Beth probably is most likely to when she wakes. But Daryl? Oh, this would infect him in ways that you couldn't even comprehend. He didn't mean for this to happen. It was just Beth that he screwed up. And he just lashed out like a wild animal. Daryl just sits in his own silence and tears, just bawling that he just killed Maggie and Beth's father without wanting to or meaning to. And he wants to blame Nicholas, but the strength he had to pull out his gun and kill him is now gone. And he says that he's leaving the group. He doesn't want to kill anyone else or hurt anyone else. And he just begins to walk away. But Rick, being around, tries to stop Daryl and says that Tyrese's death wasn't his fault. And Beth getting injured wasn't his fault. And this, sure, he messed up. But they can make this work still. Daryl is needed. And Daryl stops him and says that he can't do this anymore. He just acted in a way that he didn't want to, and admits to how he acted in the past. And although that was because Merle was locked up on that roof, he just acted in the way that he did before. Like the old passive-aggressive Daryl that didn't care about anyone else but himself. And that very behavior just got Herschel killed. And if he had been around with Beth like he should have, she wouldn't be injured. Tyrese wouldn't have died. Herschel wouldn't have died. And says that he can't risk anyone's lives anymore. He's proven that no matter how much he grows, he'll still be an outcast, a wild animal. And he's going to be on his own. And if he can't be on his own with Merle, he'll be on his own by himself. And gathers up every single one of his things, gets his bike, looks at the group one time, and goes away. That very somber moment gone. The story takes a somber turn indeed, with Gabriel still ratting out the group, and Rick and Deanna confronting each other about Pete in a very much different way. Because everyone is going to be upset about this. 3 deaths. Well, more than 3, actually. 4, really. Doesn't matter. And Daryl leaving, which wouldn't be the first time. But now, he's seemingly gone for good. Rick is even more aggressive when it comes to confronting Deanna about Pete, having all this happen, and Daryl leaving. Deanna says that she understands this, and she's upset too. She lost her son. And albeit, even if this has all happened, she understands what Rick's going through. And understands how much Daryl must have meant to him and how the people that they lost, especially Herschel, meant to them. But she's not comfortable with the idea of killing someone. They just lost 4 people. Aiden, Tyrese, almost Beth, Herschel. So technically 3.5? Because they don't know if Beth's going to make it. They can't kill anyone. If it comes to it, bring brute force. Deanna's open to that now. But they can't just kill anyone. They just lost 3 people. Possibly 4 if Beth doesn't pull through. If they kill Pete here, then they are just making what they've brought here, what they've built here, for nothing. And says that if they need to bring brute force to Pete, then fine. Rick goes, talks to Jesse like before, very much so aggressively than he was originally, and confronts Pete, but brings almost his complete A-game. He ain't pulling punches here like the Rick we saw in the original story. He means business. Deanna comes out, and this scene kind of goes the same, but Deanna's more open to the idea of brute force because she thinks that how Rick is dealing with stuff right now, and the way that she already knew about Pete and the way that everything's been presented, just thinks that this should be for the best. But Rick's bringing a lot more force than necessary. And Deanna is starting to get worried. Has Daryl's disappearance from the group, seemingly forever, resulted in a much darker Rick than we've ever seen possible? Or do you think that she'll eventually turn to the idea of killing Pete an episode sooner? Well, technically episodes sooner. Do you think that Daryl will ever return? How is the governor and the Croat and Negan's whole thing going on while everything's gone on here? And do you think the group will ever come back from the deaths and Beth's possible death? And if you think she awakes, what will happen when Daryl's not there when she does? And that's where we're going to be leaving things for the moment. In many ways, this is one of the darkest episodes I've ever made. And you guys wonder why I don't like dark endings for my stories. It's because I honestly like to see more positive endings, but I can't always make it positive. But I hope you guys enjoyed nonetheless. Like and subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.